Hello, my name is Mrs. Harrison and I am lucky enough today to give you a lesson on decimal and fraction equivalents. I'm really excited and I'm looking forward to teaching you about these concepts. First though, you are going to need for this lesson a piece of paper or card, a pencil and some scissors. So if you haven't got those things, you can pause me now and go and get them. Okay, I hope you came back and you've got those things now. We're going to use those a bit later. Now, the last lesson you had was with Mrs. Heaton. And do you remember she showed you this practice activity? I hope you're nodding your head. Let's have a look. Let's see how you got on. So I'm going to go through the answers with you. The first one there, it says 1/10, and we would have is equal to 1/10. So hopefully you will see that. There it is. And then the next one there is 100th is equal to 100. So that is equal as well. So I hope you got on well with those two. Let's look at the next one. 100th is less than 1/10. And then the last one is 100th is less than 1/10. How did you get on with those? Give me a thumbs up if you feel confident. I hope you'll show me thumbs up. Otherwise, I'm sitting here on my own with my thumbs in the air. Should we have a look at the practice challenge activity that Miss Heaton also showed us? So here's the practice activity, the challenge, and let's see how you got on. 1/10 is equivalent to 10 hundredths. That is true. The next one says 1 is 10 times the size of 1/100th. That is false, because 1 is 10 times the size of 1/10. I hope you got that. And then the next one here, it says 1/10 is equivalent to 1/10. And if we just highlight that bit there, that 0 there is been added on, but it's still the same number. So that is true, they are equivalent. And then the last one, 100th is 1/10 the size of 1/10. What do we think? Of course, that is also true. I hope you did really well. Give me another thumbs up if you're feeling confident with those answers. And again, I hope you're showing me your thumbs up so I'm not sitting here on my own with my thumbs to the computer. Right, we're going to move on to today's learning. This lesson, I'm going to start with showing you a whole. Now, that whole can be represented by 10 tenths. You've already learned that. I want to divide those 10 tenths into 10 equal parts. What is that going to look like? Pause me now and have a imagine what that might look like. So those 10 rods split into 10 equal parts. I'm going to show the number line now, which might help you. There it is. And hopefully you imagined something like this. And we want to think about one of those parts, which I'm going to highlight here. That is 1/10, because it's 1 out of the 10 equal parts that we've got there. How can that be written as a fraction? Well, let's look at our number line. We can use this to help us. Can you see? Our 1/10 as a decimal looks like this, 1/10. So I'm going to show you a sentence that I'd like you to join in with me. And I'm going to trust that you're going to join in as we say it together. You ready? One whole has been divided into 10 equal parts. There is 1/10 in each part. I hope you joined in with me. And if there's anyone else around, they can join in as well. Just maybe, if they're doing something else, maybe don't disturb them, but more the merrier to join in. Otherwise, I'm on my own, just speaking into a computer. So I'm going to trust that you're joining in with me. I'm going to show you another whole now. Are you ready? Here's our next whole. I want to divide this time into 2 equal parts. Let's get our rods back because they really help us. Here are our rods. How can we split or divide our 10/10 into 2 equal parts? How many tenths will there be in each part? Pause me now and you can jot that down. I hope you wrote something, and I'm going to show you this number line. That helps us out a bit, doesn't it? And you might have jotted something like that down on your paper. Watch as the tenths divide into 2 equal parts. Is that what you imagined? So with your finger now, just point and circle one of the parts. I'm going to do it with my highlighter. Well done. And what does that look like as a fraction? Well, we can see there's 5/10 there, can't we? Here. 5/10. So when we divide that whole into 2 parts, one of the parts is 5/10. And here is our half, which shows its equivalent. And let's look at that as a fraction and decimal. And our number line helps us because we know there are 5/10 in each part. You're going to do it with me now. So, you ready to say it along again with me? Ready? One whole, a bit louder, one whole has been divided into 2 equal parts. Well done. There are 5/10 in each part. Okay, I could just about hear you there. A bit louder next time. So we're going to move on to another problem, starting with our whole again. Here's our whole, and this time I want to divide it into 5 equal parts. So here's my rods. I've brought them back because they do help us out. There's 10/10 there. How many? 10/10. Well done. And those 10/10 need to be divided into 5 equal parts. How do we do that? To make sure there's equal number or amount in each part. Jot down on your piece of paper what that is going to look like as a fraction, and also what it looks like as a decimal. And your challenge here is to write 2 fractions for me. So pause me now and jot those down. Okay, hopefully you've come back and you've got something on your piece of paper, and I hope by looking at this number line, it will help you out a bit. So as I said, we're going to divide the 10/10 into 5 equal parts. So here, as you know, our denominator shows us how many parts we are dividing our whole into. And what does that look like as a decimal? 2/10. Let's see that. Watch the rods, the tenths, move into 5 parts. Is that what you imagine? Now, I want you to circle, so touch your screen and circle one of the parts, and I'm going to do it with my highlighter here. Well done. So we can see it's been split into 5 equal parts, and there are 2/10 in each part. How many tenths? 2/10. Well done. So how do we write that as a fraction, and how do we write it as a decimal? So this we've got here, but we also have another fraction that you may have written down, or you may be thinking it now, and the decimal will help us out. 2/10. Let's have a look. Did you write that? I hope so. And that's what it looks like as a decimal. Okay, are you ready? I really want you to join in with me. So, 1, 2, 3. 1 whole, bit louder, has been divided into 5 equal parts. There are 2/10 in each part. Well done. I'm going to show you another whole now, and we're going to divide this one a bit differently. Can you see I've given you a clue? You probably are looking at that thinking, oh, I know, we're going to divide it into 4 equal parts. Yes, you're right. What would that look like? 4 equal parts as a fraction. And this is your challenge. I want 2 fractions. So pause me now and have a go at writing 2 fractions and a decimal to show me how I'm dividing into 4 equal parts. Okay, hopefully you're playing me again and you've got an answer to that. Let's have a look at the number line because this will help us, I know. Here we go. 4 equal parts. And what is our decimal going to be? 25 hundredths. Let's look at that. Let's watch it. So we can see here we have got 4 equal parts, and each part has 25 hundredths. Do you remember from Miss Heaton's lesson, she showed you that one of these yellow blocks is equivalent to 100th. We've got 25 here. Is there another way of saying 25 hundredths using tenths and hundredths, I wonder? What do you think? Some of you nodding your heads. Some of you might be nodding your head saying, yes, there is another way. And some of you might be thinking, not really sure. There probably is, but I'm not sure. So let's have a think about that. If we know that this whole has been split into 4 equal parts, there are 25 hundredths in each part, the decimal will look like this. How many tenths is that? Well done if you said 2/10. How many hundredths? 5 hundredths. So 2/10 and 5 hundredths is equivalent to 25 hundredths. Okay, I'm going to move on to one last problem. Now, I have a problem here. My friend said to me, oh, you can easily divide that whole into 3 parts. Really easy. And I thought about that and I thought, the others we've looked at, you can divide them, can't you? Hopefully you're nodding your head. And we've seen that. We've actually seen how it divides with the tenths and the hundredths. But this time I want to divide it into 3 equal parts. But I've got a problem. What's my problem? Do you know what my problem is? Point to the screen and maybe you could point out what my problem might be. You can say it aloud now. Okay, let's have a look. Here's my hundreds and my tenths, and hopefully this will help us work out how to solve our problem. Watch as it divides into 3 equal parts, this whole. Okay, so I've got 3 tenths in each part and 3 hundredths in each part. Fine. But you can see my problem, can't you? Yeah, this up here. Can't just get rid of it, can I? Because then it wouldn't be a whole when I put them, if I put them together. I can't just stick it into one group because, well, then they wouldn't be equal. What do I do with that? Any ideas? Some of you might be saying, well, just divide that into 3 parts, and that's a really good idea. So what I do need to do with that 100th is divide that into 3 equal parts as well. And then this might be new learning for some of you, because then you will get a recurring number. Nod your head if you've heard that word, recurring. Okay, some of you might be nodding. Hopefully, some of you might have. If you haven't, don't worry, because this is all it looks like. I'll show you. So we've got 3 equal parts. That tells us with the denominator there. That's my 1 part. What does that look like as a decimal? Well, it's going to be 3 tenths and then 3 hundredths. But then this hundredths is divided by 3 as well. So we have a recurring decimal. And that's what that looks like. So it will go 0.333333 and it will carry on. Okay, we're going to have a recap now of everything we have just learnt. Let's have a look. What one did we first start with? Do you remember? Well done, point to it. It was the 1/10, good. And then what was the next one? Do you remember? Well done. It was the 5/10, wasn't it? Which is equivalent to 1/2. Then we looked at the 2/10 there. Then we had a look at the quarters or 25 hundredths. Then we looked at, not that one, this one here, didn't we? We looked at the 3 recurring. Now, the ones I've shown you here, 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 and here, you just need to know them. You need to know them off by heart, and I'm going to give you a practice activity to help us know that in a moment. And this one here is helpful to know. So it might crop up every now and then, so that's a good one to be familiar with. This one is also a good one to be familiar with as well. The others, which I'll show you, you won't need to know these off by heart, but they're there for you, and if you want to investigate them, feel free to do so. Right, here is your practice activity. This is time for your paper or card. I want you to cut a square, just like this, okay? And you'll need 5 of them. I'll just show you this quickly now. What you're going to do, on one side, you're going to write the fraction. And then on the other side, you're going to write the decimal. And that's it. And then you're going to test yourself to see how quick you can be at saying the equivalent. So you can have all the fractions face up and then say the equivalent, turn it over. Or you could have the decimals facing up and say the equivalent fraction and turn it over. If you want a bit of a challenge, then add this card in as well and keep practicing. And if you master those, it will really help you with the next lessons that are coming up. Thank you for joining me today. I've had a really lovely time working with you and talking to you about my favourite subject, which is fractions. I hope to see you again soon.